everyone. So a while back we made a video talking about how to come to terms with their sexuality. We ourselves talked about our stories and our own journey.
So while some people found it helpful, there were a lot of people who were still confused after watching it and said things such as, but like, I find guys really cute, but I only want to date girls. So what does that make me? Am I bi? Am I not? I don't know. Also, a lot of what we talked about is that you don't need to pick a label for yourself because that can be very restrictive and confusing. But then on the other hand, a lot of people find comfort in labels.
And empowering.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, so like this is the label that describes me. Now I know what I am. But then we realized that there's like a huge part of, you know, figuring this out about yourself that people only rarely ever talk about, and that is the reason why so many of you are still confused about your sexual orientation. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So sort of the missing key for hopefully many of you that's going to give you the answer. This is what I identify as.
So before we get into it, you know how it goes. This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN.
A VPN is basically a service that allows you to connect to the internet via an encrypted tunnel. And by doing that, you protect your privacy and also your data.
It's like super weird and scary that you need something like this, but it's kind of what you gotta do nowadays.
And of course, also what a lot of people use VPNs for is to sort of unlock content that you can only access from certain countries, such as Netflix.
Oh,
US Netflix has the biggest library, so you can just say, oh, we're in Denver, Colorado now, and then you can watch everything that US Netflix has to offer.
So if you're from the US and you're watching, there's definitely a few goodies out there that you can watch on your Netflix. So.
For example, Orphan Black. You can watch that if you're in the UK, so put yourself UK. Excellent Canadian show with some great queer characters.
So if you want to check it out, click on the link below and just type in Alexis Lilian and get 83% off.
Yep, plus an extra 3 months off.
Random.
And you get a 30-day money-back guarantee with that, so if you don't really find yourself using or liking it, there's no harm in trying it. Okay, so when people are thinking about who am I attracted to, we think of attraction in terms of sexual attraction. The thing is, there is a distinction between sexual attraction and romantic attraction.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's like, it's crazy that you can be romantically attracted to someone, but not sexually attracted to them, and vice versa.
Exactly. Or you can find men sexually attractive, but you're only romantically attracted to women.
So let's break it down.
Yes. So what is sexual attraction? Sexual attraction is the attraction to another person that spurs and desire to engage in sexual activity. You may get like a tingly you may get like a tingly feeling in the crotch area, and yeah, you're just very drawn to that person, usually because of their looks, maybe their smell, something about them, and you're like, obviously it can come to varying degrees. It's not like you look at someone like, oh, I'm horny, I want to jump here right now. Like, that's not how it needs to be. And then what is romantic attraction? I'll hand it over to my romantic lover, who I also find sexually attractive.
Lucky me. So, definition of romantic attraction: an emotional response that results in desire for romantic relationships. Romance, it's a beautiful thing. So when you're romantically attracted to someone, you have the romance, the feeling, the connection, the like, I want to kiss you and cuddle you and hold you and tell you you're beautiful and have like that loviness.
And I would argue like the whole falling in love with someone. Mm-hmm. The thing is, a lot of times the two go together, right? Like a lot of times we are sexually attracted to a person and also romantically.
And sometimes you can be sexually attracted to someone and then you start spending more time with them and then you realize, hey, okay, I'm now becoming romantically attracted to them, and vice versa. So you can be romantically attracted to someone, spending time with them, connecting with them, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, they're getting pretty hot. I'm feeling spicy in here.
Then there's the times where you realize, when you're now figuring all of this out, that okay, maybe I don't feel the same way about the different genders. So you can be all sorts of variations, you know, you can be bisexual and biromantic, or pansexual, panromantic. You can be homosexual and homoromantic, or you can be, and this is where it would be really confusing, you can be homosexual but heteroromantic.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. There's actually even way more types of attraction that you can have. So it's like actually funny that people just assume that everyone is born heteroromantic and heterosexual. Like, what? I'm not a fan of labels. Like, I describe myself as queer, but sometimes I say bisexual, and when I say bisexual, it always didn't feel like 100% right, and I always said like with a strong preference for women. But now what I'm thinking I can say with confidence is I am bisexual, because yes, I find both men and women sexually attractive. I also include, by the way, non-binary and trans people in that. You know, if there is a sexy person, I think they're sexy. Romantically, I find myself attracted to women. So I would say I'm bisexual and homoromantic. I was always saying it like I don't really see myself falling in love with a man, but I couldn't see that with a woman, but I still find men attractive. And then I was like, oh, what do I call that? Bisexual? But like, and I'm like, I'm just not romantically attracted to men. That's it.
But like, what if you meet someone that you just are romantically attracted to them?
Well, then that's different. Like, I don't know if it could happen, but I'm just saying so far it hasn't happened. So I'm just saying like maybe I just don't have that connection. And again, gender and blah blah blah, because it's like, what is it really? So I don't want to completely exclude that. But just so far I've had that more with female identifying individuals.
Okay, gotcha.
And I don't know what it is, but I think there's something in like the warmth and like vulnerability in a way of women, and even like the dynamic of a relationship that you have with a woman versus straight dynamics in a relationship. Yeah, I just find that a lot more appealing.
I'm pretty, like, now when I'm thinking about it after having this conversation, I can definitely see myself being with a guy or a girl, but I need to like get to know them, have like conversations, have chemistry, have like, they have to be like funny and like, you know,
bring
I have
something else to the table.
Yeah, and it has to like have that build up to then be like, okay, now I want to have like a sexual
which is
thing with you.
Kind of like demisexual.
Okay.
Which is that definition that we were talking about, where it's like you don't really necessarily feel sexual attraction until you really get to know them, and until you have an emotional connection with them, and then you feel that way. Another thing that we didn't touch on in our last video was, you know, you could also be asexual. And within asexuality, there's like a whole new spectrum of like types of asexuality that you can experience. So like asexual and aromantic, or just asexual but still feeling romantic attraction. We're actually going to be releasing a video soon discussing asexuality more in detail. Well, so moral of the story is there is so much more that goes into sexual orientation. I mean, sexual orientation should be sexual attraction, but then can we also start talking about our romantic attraction? Because that's also a huge part of relationships and who we want to be with and who we're attracted to, right? So of course it's confusing if you're only thinking about it in terms of sexual attraction. So yeah, we just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, and I think it's like super important to just like narrow it down and figure it out and just be confident with it and own it and be like, this is what I am, like this is what I'm attracted to, and
it's
that's
okay.
that. Yeah, that's okay.
So yeah, I think it's super interesting, but also makes it maybe even more confusing. I don't know.
Yeah, it does. No, I don't think it makes it more confusing. I think it
opens a lot more questions.
Yeah, definitely opens up a lot more questions, but
hopefully also answers.
But I think that it's just good to be talking about, because once you narrow it down a little more, it gets less confusing, I personally think, because then you understand yourself so much more and you can just start being more like true and less confused.
Think about all the people out there who still like need to figure this out about themselves and have never thought about it in terms of other than just gay, bisexual, straight. There is so much more than that. So like, let's just think about that for a moment. So spread the word, talk about this, share this video with your friends, share it on the interwebs, and please let us know your thoughts below, and would love to hear if this made it more confusing or if this gave you maybe some answers.
And opened up the door.
Or if you're like, I already knew this, you're so late to the party.
Probably that's the case. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. We always appreciate it.
And thanks again, Surfshark VPN, for sponsoring this video. Alright, we'll see you at the next one. And until then, tschüss!
Tschüss!